Hello everyone, this is Yella, your friendly advisor in Ireland. This is the fifth episode of the job hunting series. Here I have Salil Walavalkar with me to discuss his job hunting story from the UK. Mr. Walavalkar is currently working as a senior software engineer at Viasat Inc. He has over 14 years of working experience in Java technologies and he worked in India, England, and Scotland before he moved to Ireland. He primarily worked in investment banking, fintech, and telecom sectors. I have him in this call to help you with your job hunting from outside Ireland, primarily from the UK. Thanks, Salil, for accepting my invitation to be part of this job hunting series. And good morning.
Good morning, Yella. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Thanks very much. Yeah,
Yeah. So I did give a bit of background, but again, can you talk about your own personal and professional background, which I did not cover?
yeah, sure. I think you've covered most of the points, but apart from that, after my 10th, I did my diploma and degree from Mumbai University. So I've got a diploma and sort of graduation from Mumbai University. Then I've got a job since then, and I've been working since I graduated.
Hmm.
The kinds of roles which I've worked on. So I've done individual contributor role as well as a technical team lead roles.
Okay.
And on my personal front, I'm married to a lovely wife, Pratiksha, and we will be celebrating our fifth wedding anniversary this December.
Congrats,
Yeah,
congrats. And from my
thank
end,
you.
hi to Pratiksha.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And so when did you move to Ireland and what's the reason behind your move to Ireland?
So we moved to Ireland. I remember distinctly. It's 15 February 2020, and the reason I remember that is because we moved during Storm Dennis. So
Ah,
I
yeah.
remember there was an great turbulence during that time, and we were in this domestic flight, Aer Lingus flight, which
Mm.
was horrible.
Oh my
So that's our first invitation to Ireland. So that's when we moved to Ireland. And
God.
yeah, I think a lot of people in Europe know about that because that was
Yes,
a
yes.
pretty wild storm which happened during that time. And so a background on why I moved to Ireland. So I was doing my research for jobs since 2019. So I was looking for jobs, trying to look at other countries.
Hmm.
So during May, we went on a tour to Northern Ireland. So Northern
Hmm.
Ireland has a very famous Game of Thrones tour,
Yes,
where you get to visit there, and then you get to see the lovely Irish coastline. So that's
yes.
what we did. And funny thing, I had never seen Game of Thrones. So, but my wife is a big, huge fan. So she
Same
dragged
here.
me there. Yeah. So she
Huge
dragged me.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah. So she dragged me there, and we went through the tour. We saw the lovely Irish coastlines. We experienced pub culture, so Belfast and couple of cities we saw, and we loved it. We loved it very much. So when we came back, then I started doing more research on Ireland, and then I discovered that Ireland has a very booming tech sector. So
Yes.
there are lots of opportunities which I found out during my research. And when I was searching for jobs, I chanced upon my current company called Viasat. So um, those who don't know, so Viasat is like a global communications company that believes everyone and everything in the world can be connected. And Viasat has a few satellites, and the prospect of working with satellites was very fascinating with me. So, and I had done a lot of fintech work, as I said before, and I just wanted some change. So that is the one of the reason which I decided to move to Ireland. Another important prospect was the dependent work visa. So my wife is a non-IT. She's in media.
Yeah.
But if you come to Ireland, there is a good dependent work visa scheme where you can also the dependent can also get that stamp 1G and you can
Mm.
work here.
Yeah.
And plus another important thing which not a lot of people know is there are a lot of government sponsored programs for dependents to help them find a job. One of the
Exactly.
important one is an epic program where it's targeted to immigrants and dependents, so they train you on certain skills, and then they help you to, or you could say enable you to be job ready. So I mean,
Yeah,
these are one of the few things which attracted us to Ireland.
that's great. I mean, you nailed the uh, points there around, even dependents getting the support for the job hunting, and given that they have stamp 1G, they can hunt for jobs in their own sector. Like my wife comes from finance background, and moving to Ireland with finance background just on critical skills is really difficult. As a dependent, it's easy for them, to search for jobs and get jobs too. And yeah, there are a few more um, organizations like Skillnet and I forgot there's a FIT program. Yeah, the few more which also help independents to
Yeah.
get jobs here. And you had, you prepared for your move to Ireland and you came to Ireland. What were your first thoughts?
So I think we were lucky to come just 2 weeks before the pandemic, so we could see a bit of Dublin. So whatever we saw, we liked a lot. So the vibe of Dublin is quite similar to London. So the lots of people moving around as a bustling city center, you could say. So that's what we thought. I mean, it was so you could say the vibe of the city was very good, and also the
Yeah,
people are really nice here. I mean, me and my wife have spent sort of 20, 30 minutes just talking to random folks here, right? I mean, about their
mm,
life. They tell us stories of how Ireland was before and it is now. So, I mean, all those things are very good about Ireland. So those were all our first impressions of Ireland.
yeah. People are nice here. They're enthusiastic. I mean, most of them are open to immigrants, and they chat about anything. It's not
Yeah.
like they restrict.
Yeah. And funny thing, a lot of them have visited India. So they know
Yes,
that, oh, I have done this. I have visited Bombay. It was very hot, and they keep telling us we
yes,
like this. Yeah. So
yeah.
good to know.
Yes. You did say that I mean, started for searching for jobs after visiting Northern Ireland, and you got to know that Ireland is you know, a tech booming country.
Yeah.
Now, when did you start searching for your jobs, and how long did it take for you to get a job in Ireland?
So I started around April or May 2019. So that's when I started. So the total process took 6 months because I was also working full time, and this was during the time where you had to commute to work physically. So
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a bit yeah. So it took a bit time, but yeah, you could say around 6 months is what it took me.
Mhm. And you also said you moved from fintech to telecom. I mean, Viasat, was it okay because you came from a different background, though you have worked on the Java technologies? Was it an issue during your interview process?
No, it was not. So, I mean, Viasat was very open to me and whatever. So the technologies were quite similar. It's just
Mhm.
that so telecom sector is more fast paced compared to sort of a finance sector or a
Mhm.
fintech sector. There is a lot more processes and rigorous what do you say checks which you have to do for fintech. But as I said, so they asked me when would it be a challenge. So I mean, of course it took me some time to pick that up, but then I mean it was smooth. So all the companies which I sort of interviewed, I mean, there was never a concern whether I would be able to manage this. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's never a concern.
Okay. And you said you traveled, commuted to job in the UK, and did you? It's tough to make time when you are working full time and commuting. You come home, you help with the chores. And
Yeah.
when did you make time? Did you make time during the weekends, or on daily basis? Did you spend some time on hunting jobs?
So it is like you have to make time. So since I sort of get up very early, so I had set up a fixed time in the morning where I had my corner, where I had my books or my whatever stuff I need to read, and I made it a habit that every morning to go and sit there and whatever, half an hour, 1 hour, maybe I will search for jobs or I'll do some coding task or whatever. But keeping some dedicated time was very useful. In the evening, it was a bit tiring because you come back, you
Yeah.
work out and do stuff. So morning time was preferred for me. So that's what I used to do.
Yeah. This has been a common theme from all the people I'm interviewing. That
Mm,
discipline. If you have discipline when you're searching for jobs, upskilling yourself, practicing, and applying for all the jobs when they are in the market right away is what helped them,
mm,
in getting the interviews. The other question I had was, when we start applying, we do not get a proper response for first few applications, and then you started getting responses and you land an interview. Was the process very difficult for you, or was it okay or medium? You know,
I could say, I mean, so when I first applied, it took me probably a month for my resume to get picked up. But once it started, I mean, it was like continuous. So because initially you need some time to understand that what do you need to put on your CV, how your CV should be structured so that it's easy to read. And nowadays there are a lot of automated tools which just scan your CV and make sure you have
skills.
those points which has to be picked up. So you could say that the process was not easy, but it took some time for stuff to start happening and to start getting interviews.
Yeah, yeah. Now you work on Java technologies. Is that a very hard skill set in Ireland, where the companies keep looking for?
Yeah, so I've worked in Java, JavaScript, front end as well as back end. So those are probably one of the top IT skills right now. So there are a lot of opportunities going on currently I mean, across Ireland, and it's also very important to note that Ireland has a lot of data centers. So a
Yeah,
lot of big companies such as Amazon, Google, Facebook have their huge data centers in Ireland, and
yeah,
they need people to run them. So they need not necessarily the technical ones. They need DevOps people. They need
mm,
system admin. So those kinds of roles are also very important and very booming right now.
mm,
And it's just that for to making those, so those you could say are relatively new. So in those cases, it's important that certification matters. So there are
mm.
lots of AWS, that's Amazon Web Services, or DevOps related certificates, which you should do if you have time, because that will help you stand out
Mm.
from the other candidates who are applying.
Yeah, that's a really nice point that you made, Salil. Yeah, I mean, if there's something new area, you get certified, you get knowledge, you stand out among the rest and get the opportunity. Uh, the other question is, the main problem people have within Ireland is to get sponsorship when they study here. Now,
Yeah.
being in UK, it would be, the problem is 10 times more. Was it very difficult for you to get sponsorship, or were you interviewing only at the companies which give you sponsorship?
So, I mean, I initially knew that this sponsorship is something which I have to take a look at. So, what I did is whenever I did a search, I did a focus search for the company. So I never just blindly applied for the lots of companies. I just applied for ones which I could clearly say that they offer sponsorship.
Hmm.
So so I mean, LinkedIn is one which everyone uses, but there is also Stack Overflow, which also lists jobs. And
Mhm.
if I remember currently, both LinkedIn and Stack Overflow have filters where they say is sponsorship required. So
Hmm.
make sure you target them. Otherwise, you'll just waste your time and the other company's time, right? Because applying for a job, getting a call back is a big process. I mean, it takes sometimes weeks. It
Yeah.
maybe sometimes takes months to go there. But
Yeah.
to make sure you're applying where it clearly says that you have a sponsorship, give it. So
Hmm.
that's something very important.
That reduces the stress and anxiety of, not
Yeah,
getting responses from the other companies which don't
exactly,
even sponsor. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
That's a really nice point, Salil. I wish I knew it before, when I was applying jobs. And, given that we talked about your professional background, how you moved, and your thoughts on Ireland, what would be your final takeaway for all the people who are hunting for jobs, at least in the skill set you are in, or vertical and horizontal skill sets that are required in your line of work?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just that a few points which you need to do. So, first of all, you need to do proper research on the companies and just focus on few on the time. Go through the job descriptions and them, see what is required. Make sure your resume matches that. And another important point is you can connect to the company recruitment specialist through
Mhm.
LinkedIn. They
Mm.
usually are very happy to help, and they are looking for folks who join their company. So reach out to them. I mean, lots of people are shy, they don't try to reach out, right? They just apply to the portal, but make an effort,
Mm.
always make an effort to apply to those folks. Then as you know, there are lots of people would be applying for the job. So make sure if a person sees your CV just for 5 or 10 seconds,
Mm.
he's able to take away. I mean, what you're doing. You don't need to do pages of CV. Just make sure if the person sees your CV for 10 seconds, he'll able to understand what you have written and what you are done.
Yeah.
And make sure your CV is not generic. I have seen a
Yeah.
lot of CVs where people just whatever they had applied during their colleges, the same CV they use, and it's not updated. It's like
Yeah.
be specific. I mean, lots of people are aware of OKR, right? Make sure that the data you put in is quantitative, right? You have
Yeah.
to put
Yeah.
numbers there. That whatever. Then another important is mention what you did and not the team did, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
are applying for the job, always make sure it has your details, like this is what I have done, this is what I have accomplished, not what the
Yeah.
team did.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, that's very important. And also try to use less buzzwords. Remember, your CV is not a list of aspirations, it is just something you did, and
Yeah.
what you did correctly and perfectly is all what is required.
Exactly.
Another thing would be, as I said, mentioned before, a fixed time to study. So make sure that you always keep a fixed time, because that is going to help you a lot. That is a kind of discipline which will help you a lot. And certifications matter.
Yep.
They do matter since a lot of people are applying. And as I said, so LinkedIn and Indeed and everything that a lot of folks already know. Stack Overflow is a very good platform now, and it is expanding a lot for finding out jobs, especially in tech sector.
Hmm.
And believe it or not, even Twitter is a good resource. There are lots of people who advertise on Twitter, so make sure you follow the proper companies on Twitter, because they
Ah.
usually release jobs there which have a direct link to their portal. So that is another one of the good resource which you can utilize.
And
So
Twitter,
yeah,
sorry, so
yeah,
please go
go ahead.
ahead. Yeah,
No, no,
Twitter
I
is
think
something I never thought of, just out of box. You
yeah.
indeed did a lot of research on how things work in the Western world.
So I am a technical guy, so I like to get into all these crazy things and learn what runs behind, right? Because that is what
Yeah,
you have to. That is what it is at the end. I mean,
yeah, yeah. Then yeah. So you gave a lot of tips for job hunters again to this call, and I'm very thankful for that. The subscribers and the viewers will definitely get a lot of takeaways from this video. I'm pretty sure. And anything else you want to talk before we close off, Salil?
Uh, no, so I think I would like to wish everyone all the best. I mean, as I said before, Ireland has a lot of jobs, and it's a big, huge tech sector. So I'm sure if you apply and just keep consistently applying and have a patience, I'm sure you'll get through.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Salil, for being part of this video and giving wonderful tips and few things which anyone cannot imagine. It's so technical but so innovative in both ways. And I hope this helps many of the subscribers and the viewers who are watching this video and who are hunting for jobs within Ireland and outside from Ireland and primarily from the UK. Thanks again.
Thanks, Yella. Thanks.